Everyone. I am Stefan Das. I would have had to complete a case study on this calculon and create an adaptive lesson plan. Allow me to first introduce what the case study would have required. This study aims to categorize this calculus and pinpoint efficient teaching strategies to help Tom, who is the child being under study, who is suffering from the condition of dyscalculia. It also seeks to define and detail practical methods and teaching techniques that may be applied in the classroom to address the needs of learners with dyscalculia. The researcher plans to adopt a computer assisted training intervention technique which involves e learning and adaptive e learning to help children develop their fundamental mathematical skills. What is dyscalculia? Dyscalculia is a specialized learning disorder that interferes with the normal growth of school level arithmetic abilities. It is a brain condition with a familiar genetic predisposition that makes it difficult to grasp mathematical ideas and numbers. The term dyscalculia first appeared in print in 1949, and its meaning is badly counted. 5 to 10% of pupils have cognitive deficiencies that make it difficult for them to grasp and understand fundamental numeracy concepts. Although this calculus can last a lifetime, children can make tremendous progress. So there is hope with the correct support and early intervention, but it cannot be cured. Now, under literature review, I would have found that mathematical difficulties are often encountered by pupils in a particular setting. Studies have shown that children with math difficulties often find it difficult to master basic arithmetic and calculating skills and take longer to do simple arithmetic operations. Additionally, they take longer to do simple tasks like managing money, knowing the time, following instructions, or reading a map. ICT aims to include assistive technology in special education to address the needs of children who have particular learning difficulties. And adaptive software has been suggested as a viable therapeutic option. Additionally, Cushion employed computer-assisted tech training as an intervention technique for children with dyscalculia and found that learners made exceptional progress. The goal of the current study was to evaluate an adaptive computer-based training program in a dyscalculia case study. The first challenge was developing an adaptive lesson plan and using the internet to carry out the study. Reading multiple publications in a short period of time to obtain data to back up the intervention plan chosen by Tom was tiresome, and finding assistive tools presented some challenges. CAI is a tried and true strategy to help children with dyscalculia, and the future repercussions of its installation at St. Anthony's Primary School, my school, look impractical. There were other pupils with subpar math skills, but they did not exhibit the same symptoms as taught. I will now go into the lesson plan that I would have created to teach a child or to integrate a child who is suffering from dyscalculia. Now, this is an adaptive scaffolding lesson plan, and so the teaching strategy that I would have been using here is scaffolding. And so the title of the lesson is Place Value of Two-Digit Numbers. Further I went on to the subject area, I would have been, because it's dyscalculia, it would definitely be a mathematics subject. The duration of the lesson is 30 minutes as on of the timetable. The class or level is grade 2. The instructional goal is to illustrate concretely and pictorial the meaning of place value from numbers 1 to 100. The broad topic chosen the broad topic chosen was differentiation strategies for students with exceptionalities. And an inclusive teaching technique would have been scaffolding, as I mentioned earlier. And scaffolding facilitates active learning and supports the development of high order thinking skills. And Vygotsky, 1978, would have mentioned this. Related requirement. Learners will recognize, represent, and compare qualitative information and develop quantitative reasonings, including additives and multiplicatives, thinking to, thinking to make meaningful connections and solve problems. The instructional objectives of this lesson was by the end of the lesson, pupils will be able to use straws and ICT to complete exercise of two-digit numbers up to 100 with 80% accuracy. And the materials that would have been used was going to be a visual schedule, a whiteboard, computer math games, sticks, straws, rubber bands, number cards, and pictures. Further, the previous knowledge, pupils are aware that numbers from 0 to 99 are two-digit numbers. Lesson pre-assessment. Before the lesson would have come started, this is what would have been done. The teacher will use a number chart from 0 to 100 and encourage pupils to count quarterly. Then the teacher will point to numbers between 0 to 99 and add selected pupils, not to say the name. Teaching and learning strategies with the time requirements. So this is the methodology. This is the meat of the lesson. This is exactly what was going to be. This is how the lesson would have been taught. First, the use of visual schedule to prepare pupils for another subject. So the visual schedule would have been mounted on the board and the children would reflect to that and they would see that this is the subject that we are now going to be doing. Now the introduction. The teacher would have introduced the lesson with a video with the link that is linked there. Pupils would have observed the video, then answer questions about 10 seconds, 10, about tens and ones. Teacher explain what tens using number cards and what are ones using number cards. Pupils would have participated in the discussion and assist their colleagues to totally remember the previous concept. The time to teach. So between 10 to 15 minutes, this is what was going to be done. I would have displayed a number for example 13. Then with the assistance of pupils, identify the number, the ones column, and the numbers in the tens column. Pupils will assist teachers to identify the number in the ones column and the numbers in the tens column using the number card. I'm the teacher, would have then, after distributing materials to the class, the teacher will display another two-digit number card, for example, 50. The teacher will then model to show using straws, 1, 10, and 5 ones by putting 10 straws together and tying it with a rubber band, and 5 straws remaining individually. Pupils would use manipulatives to show 1 10 and 5 ones by putting 10 straws together and tying it with a rubber band and leaving 5 straws next to it. This could have been integrated with the ICT model, whereby the teacher, instead of using picture cards, we could have used the numbers mounted on the whiteboard or even on the television as my presentation is taking the form of. Further, the time to practice. This is when the children will be involved in activities that will help them to grasp the concept. The teacher will display the number 23 on the chalkboard, then ask people to identify the number in the ones column and the number in the tens column. Then use their straws and rubber bands to represent 23 using tens and ones. Pupils will assist teacher to label the numbers, tens and ones, and then use their straws and rubber bands to show the amount for number 23. They will make 2 groups of tens and 3 straws remaining outside. Teacher used the chalk to show one straw bandage by a rubber band, another 10 straws bandaged by another rubber band, and 3 straws standing next to them to represent 23 on the chalkboard. Now, Tom would have been given a tablet with the same exercise to complete. So because Tom is a different learner, he would have been given a different list, a different Material to use during this time for his time of practice. Time to reflect. Teacher will display number cards one at a time for each children to use the straws to represent. Now, Tom would have been given a game to play on the tablet to test if he would have grasped the concept that was taught. So while the class would have been given one activity with the use of the picture or cardboard and the chalkboard, Tom would have been given a different method to ensure that he grasped the concept. Now, what was the summative assessment? The summative assessment for this lesson includes pupils using their manipulatives, for example, their straws to represent two-digit numbers by showing the number of tens and ones in given numbers, and a tablet for Tom, who is the child with dyscalculia. He would have been he would have been doing a test on the tablet. The inclusive adoption. The accommodation in the lesson includes instructional accommodation. Pupils with learning disabilities prepared for tasks by knowing the key vocabulary and concepts. The lesson started with the class mind map of what they already know about the topic, and the children with learning disabilities were partnered with more about were more able to appear. Assessment accommodation. Learning was broken down into small steps. Short, simple instructions were given, one at a time, and checked for understanding. Hands-on manipulatives were used for children with learning disabilities, and they were given a small amount of two-digit numbers to work with in the extra time. And Tom, on the other hand, would have been given a tablet so that he could have get his task done effectively. Now, what are some recommendations from this case study? One, to deploy CAI in their classrooms, all instructors must receive the requisite computer skills training. Teachers must devote sufficient time to determining and meeting each child's requirements. Head teachers are required to submit requests for ICT classrooms. 4. Appropriate computer resources must be provided for all schools. 5. Teachers must design student-centered lessons and allow for acceptable gadget use. And 6. The no cell phone rule has to be changed to provide pupils access to internet resources that will improve their academic performance. In conclusion, the aim of this study is to identify and assess the best intervention strategy for math challenge Tom. Numerous studies have shown that CAI works best to address Tom's specific learning issue. Tom's arithmetic skills and attitudes about CAI have improved according to the study's finding. Will improve according to the study's finding. Teachers view CAI as the effective teaching technique that may improve instructional methods by providing learners of various abilities with suitable pedagogies. Here are my references, and I thank you for listening. I trust that this presentation would have been beneficial to you as it was for me. Thank you.